talked about is webifying your writing. I think, I don't know if I made up that word or not, but it seemed appropriate. Tips for writing for the internet. I encourage my clients to do content marketing. I always give the example of Joe the plumber. Joe the plumber writes an article explaining how to unstop your sink. Now, we go to Google and we type in how to unstop our sink and we find his article. What can we not find on Google, by the way? Is there something we can't find on the internet? Answer to your question? Yeah. Everything's there. So if you're not providing content out there, if you're not providing answers to a question, as a business, who is? Somebody's going to provide that content. People are often afraid of giving away too much, giving it away for free. But Joe the plumber writes this article, How to Unstop Your Sink. Now I read it, I look at it, wow, Joe the plumber sounds like he knows what he's doing. I'm going to call him. My husband reads it, he said, I think I can do that. All right, so he fixes it. Next time he realized, well, this is beyond me, but I remember that Joe the plumber guy, he knew what he was talking about. So a big part of writing for the internet is this content marketing, this article marketing, this providing the positioning, this putting yourself in the eyes of people who are looking for you or your services as a subject matter expert, as a leader in your field. In order to write content then for the internet, it needs to be relevant to somebody. It has to have an audience. I also recommend, depending on what kind of piece you're writing, in a lot of cases it might be advisable to start to have your lead to start with your conclusion, to have something that's going to really draw them in. A lot of newspapers would do that too. They'd have the first sentence or two, they'd have the lead in or summarize the whole story in that section. I love Bloomberg Business Week. I read that pretty regularly. And they have at the end of every article just a sentence or two summarizing the whole thing. I think readers look for that. One thing I want to talk about too for writing for the internet is the length. This is a problem that really good writers struggle with. If you're a good writer and you want to have your flowery prose, you want to go on and on and tell the story, that doesn't work oftentimes for the internet. If you have a website, which I think all writers should have a website. If you have a website, you have 6 seconds to capture their attention. So the length in general is going to be shorter. If you're writing a blog post, some blogs will not go over 450 words. I don't recommend going over usually probably 700. 400 to 700 is usually a good length for a blog. So your length is going to be shorter in a lot of cases.
It's going to be shorter than 450, even be better.
It depends on your audience. They're going to dictate that. They're going to dictate that. And if you have good analytics for your blog, for your website, you should be able to tell what's getting more attention. But in most cases, yeah, 700 would be the law. Occasionally, there are articles that are more than that, but especially if you're publishing something on a regular basis, like a blog on a regular basis, keep it shorter. Scannable. That's another thing too that's really important for writing for the internet is you've got to think about how people browse the internet, how they surf it. They're not, we said 6 seconds to capture their attention initially, but then once they're there, once they're on the website, are they going to sit there and read word for word? They're going to scan it. So you're going to think about that visually. How is their eye going to move through the page? Do you have graphic enhancements? Do you have something that's bold, something that's highlighted, something that's a call out? Do you have bullet points maybe? Do you have plenty of white space or a background color that they're going to be able to visually guide their eye through? After they do that, then they might stop, come back in and read